Hi, my name is Robert Marcella, and this is my MIT project for first year writing. And my project was on the question, how has the public's use of Google changed over time? So the artifact that I had to write about was an article written by Nicholas Carr, who is an American writer who published many books and articles on technology, business, and culture. And he's very well known for all the books that he's written. And one of his most popular pieces of writing, which is the article that I had to write on or talk about, is called Is Google Making Us Stupid? Here is Nicholas Carr's own website, in which he has many things about himself. On the homepage, he has a little biography about himself and what he does with the different pieces of writing he's written over time, as you can see, with different articles. And up top, there's different tabs that you can click on that brings you to different, I guess, critic reviews on the different books that he's wrote, along with Utopia's Crazy, The Glass Cage, The Shallows, The Big Switch. And then he also has a tab on the articles that he's wrote over time and like where they're published, the title of them. There's links on each thing that you can click on that takes you to the article. He also has a blog in which he writes about different things, and also there's just a link to his website. I have the main highlights and kind of like a little short summary of what goes on in the article written by Carr, that is Google making us stupid. So first, Carr explains how himself and many other people have agreed that they have noticed that they are not able to read for like extended periods of time now without getting distracted by some other form of technology, unless they're like really interested in the article that they're reading. And there are many people that Carr talks about that he has actually came to about this problem that are his colleagues and other people that he knows that have agreed that they have noticed this too. And they agree that it is also a problem. Then he compares the human brain to a mechanical clock and like the way that we depend on it for so many things, and if maybe one day it was just gone from our lives, we wouldn't really know what to do. And the people who have talked about this happening are like people who have like other literary backgrounds and used to like always read long books and stuff like that over time, and even bloggers. And those are just the other people who agree that this phenomenon happens over time to people where they just get distracted from reading. Here's pretty much what I think about how technology was a part of our lives like in the past before we got to this point in life where technology is just relying on so many things. I feel like in the past television was just our main form of entertainment and getting news, instead of now we have all the social media that people are using and smartphones where people are just looking up everything that they need to know about the news and everything. And technology obviously wasn't as advanced, and smartphones didn't exist in the past. And people couldn't rely on it because they didn't have it at that time. In the past then, you could not get as many things on the internet as you can now, because now you can just pretty much find anything that you need to know on the internet. In the past, I feel like to a certain extent, we didn't have that availability when we went on the internet or just searched something into Google. Not everything would come up exactly what you wanted and needed to know. And then here I have how is technology a part of our lives now in the present. And I know in my life technology is one of the biggest things, and like I don't know what I would be doing without it. It takes up the majority of what we do in life, whether it's through television, the internet, video games, and there are just so many things that we need internet for. And we use technology to gain almost all the information that we take in, and it's used almost everywhere. Like I remember the days where technology was always frowned upon being used in school and everything like that, and now I think almost every class that I take that I take, like technology is used, and by either the professor or the students in the class have to use it. I have the question like, why did Carr put this artifact into the world? The article, is Google making us stupid? And the reason I believe that Carr put this out into the world is to make people aware just how much technology is changing our lives and the effect it's having not only in our lives but on our actual brain. And he wants us to know if we think we as humans would be able to survive in the world if suddenly just all the technology that we had disappeared from our lives. And I myself don't feel that I would be able to survive without all that. I really wouldn't know what to do in most cases. And what is the artifact's purpose? The purpose of the artifact is to make people aware of this, because if they did find that they are not able to read for extended periods of time, they may think that maybe something's wrong with them, but they feel like Carr wants them to know that they're not alone, the only one who's going through this, and they're not, it's just a common thing now, people going through just not being able to read for long periods of time, even though they used to once be able to. It is a video by a girl who has a class where she had to read this and give her opinion on this, so I'm going to show this to you guys.
Hi, my name is Nicole DeRosa, and I'm going to be discussing an article that I read for my new media class. So the title of this article is Google Making Us Stupid? And it's written by Nicholas Carr. While reading the article, I couldn't help but think, I've heard this all before. It's true that most of the time, when I cannot think of an answer to a question that comes up in conversation within a few minutes, I'll Google it. I don't think that this takes away from my knowledge, though. I view Google almost as an encyclopedia or a dictionary. It helps me to quickly know answers to things, and I retain some of the information I read. I agree with Carr's article when he talks about power skimming when reading rather than thoroughly reading things. I skim very often when reading things that I'm not interested in. I don't think that this is the fault of having access to the internet, though. I think that I'm most likely going to have a short attention span when I'm not interested in the things that I'm reading, whether I have access to the internet or not.
So I have some points that I do agree with that she stated there about how Carr mentions how he realizes that if he's not interested in something, he usually just skims through it. And I think I agree with that. Just because if I'm reading something, whether it's something on Twitter or something, social media, or just an article, if it's not something I'm interested in, and I'm actually just being forced to read it for some reason, then I'm not going to pay as much attention to it. I'm going to skip through it quick. And I just feel like what she stated is true on some points, but I do feel like Google is affecting our brains in some different ways. The article is one that I felt really stood out to me, just because when I was reading this, thinking, if you think about it, these aren't just normal people who don't really read that much that experience this. Carr states, I'm not the only one. When I mention my troubles with reading to friends and acquaintances, literary types, most of them, many say they're having similar experience. So it's not just people who don't read too much. It's actually people who have literary backgrounds and actually used to read so much, and now they just don't have the attention span or interest in it to be able to do so now. And here is the bibliography for Nicholas Carr's Is Google Making Us Stupid? And I'd like to thank you for watching the video and listening to me talk. Thank you.